What's going on, everybody? Welcome into episode 104 of the MudWatch Sports Podcast on this Thursday, August 28th, 2025. I'm your host, Zach Malamu. Before we get started, please subscribe below. Follow all of my social accounts. Let's start things off in the world of baseball as both New York teams were in action this week. And we'll start things with the New York Mets as they welcomed a division rival, the Philadelphia Phillies, to town for a three-game set at Citi Field. Mets coming off of that series win down in Atlanta. They take 2 out of 3 at Truist Park. And the Mets come back home to take on the Phillies, and they completely brought that confidence in from that Atlanta series. The Mets end up sweeping the Phillies 3-0 at Citi Field, and they sit just 4 games back of Philadelphia for the top spot in the National League East. A remarkable series for the Mets, and they end up really cutting that deficit to 4. I won't say this NL East race is back on just yet, just because the Phillies do not have that tough of a schedule. However, this Mets team, it looks like it could get through anybody right now with how they're playing on the offensive side of things. And it all started on Monday, where it was pretty ugly early in this game as the Mets trailed 3-0 and really just could not have answers for Christopher Sanchez on the mound. But they continued to break through, and they found a way in that 4th inning with Mark Vientos hitting an RBI double, Brandon Nimmo with an RBI single, Jeff McNeil with an RBI single of his own, and they continue to find ways to get to Sanchez, and he allows 5 earned runs in this game. He falls to 11-5 on the year, and the Mets really, all over the place, especially against this Philly bullpen. They continue to find ways to put runs up, and a 4 spot in the 7th, a 3 spot in the 8th. All of a sudden, it is 13-3 Mets, and that was the final. 14 hits overall on the day for New York, and they continue to roll on the offensive end. And you're thinking, all right, well, they did have a great offensive day, but their starting pitcher, Kodai Senga, did not look good. And this starting pitching staff overall, except for a couple of the young guys who we'll get to a little bit later, coming up from the farm system, it's been pretty ugly from a lot of these starters lately. So they need to figure things out, and they got exactly that on Tuesday night. I think really the star performer in my mind of the week has to be a guy in Sean Manaea, who came into Tuesday's start really struggling and could not find a great outing and really struggled in the last couple. He goes into Tuesday's outing up against a tough opponent in Philadelphia with a very tough lineup and a tough pitcher on the other side in Jesus Luzardo. And it just came down to, you got to beat the guy on the other side. And Sean Manaea had a really, really good day, in my opinion. Really got his stuff going with those 8 strikeouts. He only goes 4 2/3 in this game with 6 hits allowed, 2 earned runs, no walks. But that's the difference there. Just limit the damage. Hand it over to your bullpen. And I know his bullpen did not really step up for him, as Ryan Helsley ended up allowing a 2-run bomb to Harrison Bader that tied it at 5 in the 8th inning. But the Mets offense, really, when you look at it, they just continue to roll no matter what pitcher they're going up against. Even a tougher pitcher as Joan Duran, who comes into the game in the 9th inning with the game tied at 5 and allows 4 hits in a row, 4 singles by this Mets team, and just does not get an out in the 9th inning. That's the difference there. They're seeing the ball well. They're just getting the barrel on it, and that's really a great sign for this Mets team. They continue to roll on the offensive end, and how about a third game of it? Wednesday, they go into the series finale against Philadelphia, and this one, a little bit less about the offense. They do put up 6 runs up on the board. This one was all about the starting pitcher in Nolan McLean, who goes 8 innings. Once again, he continues to dominate in his first 3 career starts. A very low ERA, 0.86 to be exact, in his first 3 major league starts. And what a performance by Nolan McLean once again. 8 innings in this one, 4 hits allowed, no runs with no walks, and 6 Ks. He really talked about just leaving the ball in the strike zone. He doesn't really care too much about the strikeouts in the end. He got 6 of them in 8 innings, but he said he relies on his defense behind him. He's got great defenders behind him, and those guys are really stepping up for him. There were defensive plays, once again, all over the place by this Mets defense, and they continue to find ways to win games with a good starting pitcher on the mound in Nolan McLean. I don't know if this is really going to keep up with Nolan McLean, but I mean, he's proven in the first 3 starts that he is locked in, and this Mets team can rely on him in the big spots, especially down the stretch towards the postseason. So they end up getting a 6-0 win, and Mark Vientos was the star once again for this Mets team. He's on a 10-game hit streak right now and really feeling good. He went 2 for 4 in this game with a home run in the 7th inning, a 2-run home run. He also had an RBI single in the 5th. So this Mets offense continues to roll right now, and you look back to August 12th, they are the best team in baseball on the offensive side of things in almost every single category you could think of. When it comes to the runs per game, they have 7 runs per game in their last 15. That's remarkable stuff with a 321 average and a 945 team OPS. The only team behind them in that group that's even close to them is the New York Yankees, who have been really good on the offensive side lately. But even the average-wise, the Yankees only hitting 268. The Mets are hitting 321 as a team over the last 15 games. Just remarkable stuff. And when you look at this Mets team, the offense was one thing that really struggled in a couple of those games against Washington, a couple of those games really against Cleveland and Milwaukee. And since then, they've completely woken up, and this offense has been tremendous lately, and that's really helped this starting pitching staff that really tells them, yeah, they can allow a couple runs here and there, but their offense is going to have their back. They're going to put up 3, 4, 5 runs on the opposing starting pitcher, and that's going to be the difference in the game. So give credit to this Mets offense. They are completely carrying this team right now, and the Mets now welcome a tough opponent in the Miami Marlins to Citi Field. A 4-game set starting tonight, 7:10 start. It's going to be Adam Mazur on the mound going up against Clay Holmes. Mazur 0-1 on the year, 5 2/3 he went in his first start. He has a 6.35 ERA, and Clay Holmes on the other side of things, 11-6, with a 3.60 ERA. Last couple of starts have been really good for Holmes, and they need him to get that going once again. This should be an easy series for the Mets. They should take probably all 4 games from Miami. Maybe 3 out of 4 is good enough here. But obviously the Mets in recent history have struggled against the teams that they should beat, and we've seen that in the last couple of weeks, and really a couple of teams in the Cleveland Guardians as well as the Washington Nationals. The Mets should win those series, but it really seems like a pretty difficult thing in the end. They should take this series against the Marlins pretty easily. Marlins are not good right now, but the Mets really can't have a letdown right now with 4 games separating them and Philadelphia. They also have a nice cushion now in the final wild card spot. They sit 4.5 games up on the Cincinnati Reds, who were just swept by the Los Angeles Dodgers, and the Reds, 4 out of their last 10 they've won. It's just not been great for Cincinnati lately, and they need to mount a comeback. It's going to be a tough series in a couple weeks, and actually next week when the Reds take on the Mets at Great American Ballpark, down in Cincinnati. So we'll see what happens with that, but Cincinnati really needs to mount a comeback here, and the Mets are feeling good right now. They start a 4-game set at Citi Field against the Miami Marlins. Let's shift things to the other side of New York, as the New York Yankees were also in action this week as they welcomed the Washington Nationals for a 3-game set at Yankee Stadium, and this series was all about the Yankee offense. That really, it should have been that way against one of the worst pitching staffs in all of baseball. And yes, the Mets struggled with them a couple of weeks ago, specifically last week, but the Yankees did not have a problem with that. They end up sweeping the Washington Nationals 3-0, and it all started on Monday, where a game that should have been really much larger than the scoreline actually offered. It finished 10-5 Yankees, but they ended up giving up 5 runs in the 9th inning. Cam Schlittler was really good in this one. 6 innings, 4 hits allowed, no runs, with 3 walks and 8 Ks, and just continues to mount a real strong case for a starting spot near the postseason. Just really good stuff by Cam Schlittler, once again, he's 2-2 on the year. And Brad Lord on the other side allowed 6 earned runs in this one. The Yankee offense was tremendous. 10 runs in 7 innings. Just great stuff once again by the Yankees on the offensive side of things, and they take this game 1 against the Nationals 10-5. Then it went into game 2, and this one was about Luis Gil in this game. Really great job by Gil to shut things down. He goes 5 innings in this one, 5 hits allowed, just the 1 earned run with 4 walks and 5 Ks. Probably wants that walk number down. Yes, the Yankees ended up being down 1-0 in this game, but it was all about Giancarlo Stanton after Luis Gil in this one. Stanton hits a 3-run double, a bases clearing double, to give the Yankees a 3-1 lead after Washington took the lead in the 3rd inning. And Stanton continues to mount his case for almost Yankees MVP for a while this season. Of course, it's going to be Aaron Judge with all those home runs, but Giancarlo Stanton, regular season Giancarlo Stanton, is a different breed this year. He's been tremendous so far, and he hits a 2-run bomb, a towering blast, 451 feet into the left field bleachers to give the Yankees a 5-1 lead, and that's how this game ended. Yankees take it 5-1. They win the series against Washington, and then you go into Wednesday's game. Max Fried on the mound, and he looked pretty good for the most part in this game. Actually took a no-hitter into the later stages of this game, but ended up allowing a couple hits in that 6th inning where C.J. Abrams got to him, James Wood got to him, and Jacob Young ended up breaking up the no-no in that 6th inning. So the Yankees end up getting an 11-2 win, but even though Max Fried didn't get the no-no in this one, he was tremendous once again. 7 innings with 4 hits allowed, just the 1 earned run with 2 walks and 6 Ks. And the last couple of starts for Max Fried really have shown that, all right, maybe he's turned a corner since those struggles since the All-Star break. Really, really good stuff by Fried, and he looked good once again here to move to 14-5 on the year. So the Yankees offense continues to roll, and this one is all about, well, they really grabbed some cushion on the teams in the wild card picture. They actually now sit plus 1.5 over that final wild card spot, over the Seattle Mariners. But even so, they're 4.5 games up on the Kansas City Royals, who are really still fighting as the one team out from that wild card picture. In Texas, yeah, they've paired a couple of wins together, but they're still 4.5 games out from Seattle. So the Yankees sitting pretty right now in this wild card spot. They just got to continue to win games. Really not that tough of a schedule coming up, and they need to really capitalize on that. But it's all about when the Yankees play the tough teams. They're really bad against the top teams in the American League this season. 7-19 against really the top teams in the American League, and you cannot have a record like that when you look at the teams that they're going up against in Boston, Houston, Detroit, Toronto. 7-19 against those teams this year. That's not good enough, and the Yankees know that. They do beat up on the bad teams, and they are doing that very well recently, but it's got to change at some point, and the Yankees need to figure out a way to get the job done as they push towards the postseason. Probably going to be there, but you never know if the Yankees lose a couple games here and there and go on a rough stretch like they did a month ago. But I mean, recently they've been one of the hottest teams in baseball, and that's really a good sign for them. And they continue to roll even with that bad series loss and that ugly series loss on the weekend to the Boston Red Sox. So the Yankees go to Chicago now, a 4-game set against the Chicago White Sox. And this one should be a pretty easy series. Once again, for the Yankees, they're going up against a White Sox team that is 48-85 on the year. And it's going to be Will Warren to start things up tonight. 7:40 start. Will Warren is 7-6 on the year, 4.47 ERA. He's going up against Davis Martin, who actually has been pretty solid this year. 112 innings pitched, a 3.93 ERA, but he's 5-9 on the season. So the Yankees got to take advantage out in Chicago, a 4-game set against the White Sox starting tonight at 7:40. But that will do it for episode 104 of the MudWatch Sports Podcast. Please subscribe below. I've been Zach Malum, and thanks for watching, and talk to you all on Monday.